Today, we're talking about 10 weird things about the Fender HM Strat. What's up everybody, Jake here, and today we're talking about this guitar, my 1989 Fender HM Strat. So when people first see these guitars, they're like, it's a Fender Strat with Floyd Rose and a humbucker. But really, when you look at this guitar, it's kind of nothing like your standard Fender Strat. So we're going to go through 10 things that I think are weird or different about this guitar compared to a normal Strat. Real quick, if this is your first time visiting my channel, thanks for tuning in, and do remember to hit that subscribe button to stay notified on new videos. So number one, like I said, when most people see this guitar, they go, oh, it's a Strat with a Floyd Rose. Well, that's actually not true at all. This guitar is equipped with the Kahler 2720 Spider Trem, which is basically a complete Floyd Rose knockoff. I mean, everything from the claw to the bridge itself, and even the locking nut is different from a standard Kahler locking nut. This trem is basically a knockoff of a Floyd Rose, except it's actually a Kahler. Number two, this guitar has an ultra flat radius. So most Strats coming out of the factory right now have a 9.5-inch radius. This is closer to an Ibanez. This has a 17-inch radius, which makes for an ultra flat, really fast playing neck. Number three is going to be one of the ways on this list that you can tell if your HM is a USA or a Japan. So the most common way to tell is actually the wires that connect to the single coil pickups. So if your guitar has blue and white on the neck pickup and red and white on the middle, you have a USA version. If you just have standard black and white wires, you have a Japan version. So number four, it's rumored that some of the USA HM Strats were actually made with Japan-sourced parts and just assembled in the USA, because this is when Fender was in the middle of moving factories and production was very, very slow for them as they were trying to get used to the new changes going on in the company. So it is rumored that they were sourcing a lot of the parts, especially the necks, from Japan. All the hardware is still USA. It's still a USA Spider Trem. However, it is rumored that sometimes the necks would be sourced from Japan. Number five, another way to tell if it's a USA or Japan. So the USA versions had a DiMarzio Super 3 pickup in the bridge, while all the Japan versions had a DiMarzio Super Distortion in the bridge. Number six, all HM Strats were equipped with TBX tone pots. So those are a stacked tone pot that gives your guitar an additional presence boost. So there's a little center notch when you're rolling up the tone, and the further you go past that, it's adding more presence to your tone. So 5 is really 10 on these guitars. Number 7. The Fender HM Strat has a 25-inch scale length, so that's right in between the standard Fender, which is 25.5, and the standard Gibson, which is just 24 3/4. So it's a little bit shorter than your standard Fender Strat. Again, to me, it's a little bit more comfy, especially when you're doing really fast runs and such. Number 8. The Fender HM Strat is actually one of the few Fender instruments to have 24 frets. Most Fender guitars either have 21 or 22, but when you're shredding, you gotta have that 24th fret. Number 9. The HM Strat has a lot of comfort cuts on the back. So right by the heel, it has 2 comfort cuts for that higher fret access to the 24th fret. And lastly, number 10, which I don't think anybody really talks about, which is super, super interesting for the finish on these guitars. This guitar looks completely different depending on what lighting conditions you're in. So when I first opened it, I was at my house and I was like, this is a lot darker than most of the photos I see. The ice blue almost looks green. Well, when I brought it to my studio space, before we had these window covers, I pulled it out of the case and my jaw dropped. I was like, it's green. My guitar just changed color. And sure enough, we covered up the windows and now it's back to this kind of, not dark, but more so blue. So hopefully I can find a few photos of this I took when we first moved into this new studio space where the guitar was green for a few days. I don't know quite how that works. It probably has something to do with the type of finish on the guitars, but that is true for pretty much every color in the line except like the white and black. Like the red one sometimes looks pink depending on what lighting it's in. So I find that super, super interesting. Alright guys, so that is 10 weird things about the Fender HM Strat. If you wanted to hear some more demos and some more in-depth information on this guitar, go ahead and check out the link in the timestamp above. That is a link to when I first got the guitar and my full in-depth first impressions, so check that out if you'd like. Otherwise, that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, throw a thumbs up on this video, and any comments, throw them down below. See you guys later.